Greetings, everyone. I am very excited today to be in conversation with Randy Hatton, who is a medical intuitive, energy worker, dowser, inventor, radionics practitioner, and visionary. And Randy, in particular, I am so excited about your deep spiritual connection with water and the way in which you've been helping us remember how to come back into reverence with water. But your work and your research is profound in terms of your integration of spirituality and science, and how you're helping us all individually and collectively come back into a connection with water that is optimizing our health and the health of the waters. So thank you for what you're doing, for who you are, and for your work. And I'm really glad to be in this conversation with you today.
Thank you for that, Heather. Yes, it's an honor to be on this platform with you and your audience. So thank you. And thank you, Heather, for all that you bring through, all your wisdom and all your divine guidance. I just want to take a moment that we all send some love to Heather for all that you bring through and all your amazingness. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you know, the spiritual side of water started with me approximately 25, 30 years ago. And even before that, I believe. I was always around water. I was always playing in water as a boy. I became a fisherman, so I was on the water a lot. And this is where my connection spiritually started happening. I didn't realize it, but it was happening. And when my spiritual teacher showed up in my life around the age of 26, they started helping me to realize this, how I was spiritually connecting to water. And I was also working in some of these other dimensions, and I didn't even understand other dimensions. And this was not making much sense at all to my logical mind. But I continued to listen to what the grandmothers shared with me and taught me, and they have been such an important part of my life, such an important part of my life. So I've come to realize that there's just so much more to water than we have ever imagined, than we could ever even believe. We're just scratching the surface of understanding the true depth and power that water carries.
And conscious.
And water has been my really great teacher. I know this now. Water has been my greatest teacher. When I've learned to surrender, when I've learned to get out of my head, trying to think about how am I going to fix these problems with the water of the planet? How am I going to come up with these technologies? How am I going to do this? And the more I was able to listen to the water, because the water told me 5 years ago, just start loving yourself. And it will all come through. And basically it is what I've come to understand is deep in our DNA is our higher life purpose. And when we find this purpose, everything is laid out by the spirit of divine grace. And so the more I was trying to mentally figure it all out and constantly trying and putting all of my money, all of my resources into figuring out, the farther I was getting away from my real purpose and how it was going to get figured out. And so after I came to the place where I was just like, okay, I give up, universe. You won, I lost. Okay, show me the way. And the water literally started showing me the way. The water started showing me the way. And other beings I know, like Adema, as I mentioned before, started showing me the way. And I started just doing a lot of self-love. And to this day, right now, especially starting 2 years ago, I don't know exactly what happened. But 2 years ago, I started realizing if I didn't wake up I wake up around anywhere between 3 and 5 in the morning. And if I don't spend several hours of practicing self-love, for me, self-love is some yoga, some little exercise, some dancing. Dancing really brings me into my spirit, and I get into the energy of ecstasy and bliss. But if I don't do that, I feel a lot of sadness. I feel a lot of just, deep sadness and sorrow. And I was kind of like, why is this? What is going on? Why do I need to, you think, why does this person need to spend 5-6 hours a day, 4 to 6, of doing self-love to really feel in your bliss and your joy? And what my guides told me and kind of were showing me is that, we live in this spider web of this quantum energetic field. We're all energetically one. We're all energetically connected. And if I don't raise my frequency high enough through those things that really lift my spirit, well, then I fall into this lower vibrational energy, and I'm not supporting the field to lift the field up and to support the field into higher light and love. All right. So I don't do all those things because I feel I have to get somewhere or be somebody special. That's not why I do it. I do it because it taps me in, turns me on, tunes me in, and I feel just so much joy, bliss, and love. And it doesn't matter how much money I have in my bank. It doesn't matter if I'm single or have a girlfriend. All this outer world is all an illusion to that true inner joy, bliss, and peace and abundance. That it's an inside job. That's what I've come to realize. It is an inside job. And as we
Can I just highlight that, Randy, because I think what you're saying is so important, because so many of us who are sensitive and who are conscious are really absorbing the energies and emotions in the collective consciousness right now. So part of what you're talking about in a profound way is how we can actually clear those energies, come back into alignment with love, with bliss, to be emanating that into the collective consciousness. And if we integrate this with water, we're, as Veda Austin would say, we're 99% water at the molecular level. You're raising the frequency of the water within you that's then emanating out and affecting everything and everyone around you.
Yes, this is so true. And I from experience, I feel that we don't want to run from the shadow, from the sadness and the sorrow. It's not like, we tend to run from that, right? That's a tendency we do as humans. And we tend to get caught up in the world of do. Well, if I just keep busy, then you don't have to deal with that energy and that emotion, right? But when you start embracing that sorrow, that pain, that suffering, when we start embracing it and getting present with it, getting still with it, right? We start learning it's our great teacher. It's our great teacher. And so we want to embrace it, but we also want to do those things. It'll be different for everybody of how we can lift ourselves up above that and love it and see it, because the shadow is always going to show up throughout our lives. It's always going to show up, but embracing and seeing is so important. But what I see is that we are like an onion, and as we clear and clear all these layers of human conditioning, the pain, the sorrow, the suffering, the not being lovable, not being good enough, all of these layers, the more we peel them away, the more we get into the core essence of who we are, which are amazing, powerful creator God goddesses. And water is real similar, because the water has been so contaminated for so many years, because we've been contaminating our waters and our bodies, and it's merely reflecting to us back. Water's mirroring to us back. All that's going on with us is trying to talk to us, is trying to show us this. The work of Veda Asta is so important work that she's showing this, right? And so as we're able to, this is the technologies that have come through me. They're supporting water to clear these layers of toxicity to get to the true essence of what it is, right? And when we get to the true essence of what it is and its ability to heal, it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal what it could do for us. And of course, yes, there's some technology that can be involved into that, but don't get me wrong, I'm going to show you some technologies here in the talk that have come through me, but we are this technology.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And as you're saying, as we get more and more in that energy of love, gratitude, and blessing, then we're helping ourselves heal. We're helping the waters heal. We're helping everything around us heal. But I love also what you're saying, Randy, about the importance of our feeling whatever we feel. It's like the waves on the surface of the sea. Let it all be. But the more we dive into the depths of the ocean, to that place of stillness, the more we connect to our soul selves. And that's what water is also trying to help us do, connect to our soul selves so that we can hold our personality selves with compassion, but not get caught at that level of the winds and the storms and the fluctuations on the surface of the sea.
Yes, so well spoken. Yes, definitely. And so anyways, I feel that we are going to a lot of things, as you know, we're in the times of the Aquarian age, and this is your specialty, and it's a symbol of the woman, pouring the water out of the vase. And I think that represents many different things. You would be able to elaborate on this more, but it's one of the things I believe is the pouring of the wisdom.
Yes.
Pouring of not just knowledge, because you can get a lot of knowledge from reading a lot of books. And I'm not a knowledgeable person. I'm not an educated person. I've read maybe 10 books in my life, front to back. I've read a lot of chapters out of books because I dowse with a pendulum and find out what part of that book I'm supposed to read. But I've not been the one who has been, even in high school, in school, grade school, I always cheated. I hated school. I did not like what was trying to be pushed into me. And I realized to this day, from kindergarten, when we started spelling, we were basically put under the spell through this whole spelling thing. And I think, anyway, so nature's been my teacher. The water's been my teacher. Life experience has been my teacher. I'm not afraid of learning new things. I'm not afraid of making mistakes. And I think that message is to all of us. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to learn something new. Don't be afraid to go against the grain of what you're being told in life.
Yes. Right? And open to right brain ways of being, which allow us to tap into wisdom, which is you, Randy, and these other ways of knowing that aren't about left brain ways of knowing.
That's correct. And it's really, to me, it's like we've all heard the story of the black wolf and the white wolf. The black wolf's on one shoulder and the white wolf's on the other shoulder, right? And so what I see of the human race, we've done a lot in our lives. We've been feeding the dark wolf a lot, and the dark wolf is equally as important as the light wolf, right? They are, but we've been feeding the dark wolf way too much through our addictions, through our luxuries. We've been doing this on an individual basis and on a collective basis. We've been giving our energy away to our governments, to the corporations, to the world telling us what we're supposed to do. And this is why it is so important in this time and age that we come into this 0 point, into the balance of the dark wolf and the light wolf. Start feeding the light wolf more, because the light wolf needs some love and support. Start taking our power back. Get into this toroidal field. Get into this 0 point. I'm no real believer in Abraham's of getting the vortex. No, don't get caught in the vortex. Get in the 0 point. Get in the stillness. That's where the source energy lies, right?
Yes.
So, anyways, I'll stop there, but I feel like I guess I needed to share that for whatever reason. So,
Beautiful. And I love that part of your self-care, Randy, is dancing. And it reminds me of how much you talk about the importance of spinning, that everything alive has this spinning motion. And you're really generating life within yourself as you dance.
yeah, look at the whirling derby, the Sophies, even children, what we do, we rolled down the hill, we spun around in circles till we got so dizzy we fall down. We should still be doing this at our age. We should be doing this. This is allowing that child part of us to come out and play, and allowing also that child imagination that we were told at a young age that we needed to quit imagining because only babies and do that. And we got to a certain age, most of our parents said, no, you don't do that. Make believe is, you don't do that. Well, that can be a very, very powerful thing when it comes from our hearts. Visualization, visualizing things, so powerful. And so, yeah, my biggest problem in life has been I've been too serious about life. It's been one of my greatest shadows, my greatest teachers. Overly serious about life. I was a captain of a 180-foot ship with a 21-man crew in the Bering Sea at the age of 26. Right. So I had to really be that serious ship captain guy. But I realized to this day I was wearing the mask really well. And yes, I could do that job, but it's not what I'm supposed to do. Thank goodness I walked away from that career. But it was all a great teacher for me. Still, yeah.
And a time where you really were deepening your connection with the ocean. So tell us more about what you've learned from water as a teacher and how you're working this path of healing, how we can heal in our relationships with water and how we can help the waters of the earth heal.
So one of the things that was amazing to be on the ocean a lot, and that was one day it could be just flat calm, just like a lake out there. And 2 days later, 75-foot seas. Right? Literally, I've been in 75-foot seas. And to see that diversity, to see that extreme from so calm and so just quiet to raging, powerful energy, and how it can literally take life away too when it gets into that place. And it has. Many of us Alaska fishermen pushed our limits and we crossed over. But you start really seeing the power of water, and you start really seeing it's something to really respect and really honor. I don't believe water judges us for anything, in a sense. But like us, water wants to be appreciated and respected. It does want to be appreciated and respected. It wants us to remember it is the mother of all life. It is the source of all life. It is, and when we start learning the art of how we can literally create medicine with water, we go to another level too. But my main thing is, I think that for me, that I've been doing for years, whenever I get in the shower, I just start thanking the water for all that it does for me, for all that it does for all of life that depends on water to thrive. When I get in the ocean, when I get in a river, when I go down by a lake, if it's too cold to get in, I still just take a moment and I thank it so much for all the life that it brings to this planet, for all the nurturing, the cleansing, the healing.
Beautiful.
And I think the more we do this, it doesn't matter if you have city water or where you're at, the more all of us that just take a little bit of this time when we're in the shower or in the ocean or whatever, to really just truly from your heart thank the water.
Yeah, beautiful. And it changes the structure of water and the energy of water to do that. And then we're in right relationship with the water. Beautiful. Say more about water as medicine.
Well, because water is the most programmable substance on the planet, and that's why can easily be programmed. But when you start, I feel, really understanding, connecting with the spirit of water, asking it for permission to support certain people or certain things. And then when we start working with sound frequencies, light spectrums, especially when we start pulsing light. Something we want to remember, everything in the universe and everything here on the earth, it's all pulsing.
And vibration.
So we want to pulse minerals and vitamins in our body, in my opinion. Don't take them every day all the time. Pulse things in our life. It's the key to life. And with water, it's also a key in the art of alchemy in water. I won't go into deep detail, but at some point I can show some pictures of how I've been guided, what I've been guided to do by the being Adema, and how we can literally create super potent medicine in water. And my belief is, as we go down the road, we are going to be, most all of our medicine will be in a liquid form. It'll be in a liquid state. Excuse me. And when we put water, I think actually might be a good time to actually show some of the pictures I'd like to share, if it's okay.
Beautiful.
Okay. Okay, so this is basically I call this a plasma purification portal. And this is putting water into a centripetal interwinding vortex. So basically what we see here also is we are seeing, when we see a vortex anywhere in nature or a spiral, we're literally seeing the signature of source energy. What I believe is the signature of source energy is all around us. And when you look at something like this, you see this Kundalini. Well, what happens is when I was talking about pulsing.
Yes.
When you really, I've been observing this for 22 years, these vortexes. I've been observing them a lot. And what I'm finding is one of the things is that when you put water, like a water level up to about here, in Gaia's fountain version, you can see this really well. This pulsates, it sprays, it goes, it opens up a little bit bigger and then closes, opens up a little bit bigger and closes. This is expansion and contraction going on. And another thing that happens is you literally watch it has a wobble effect. And the wobble effect is because it's tapping into the energetic field of the whole planet, the Earth Mother. The Earth Mother is wobbling slightly. Again, you can see this more when you really observe it a lot and watch it. What I've realized, again, as I've said before, this is creating a scalar antenna, receiver, and transmitter. And this is where we're getting into, this is like preparing the water portal before a group will come in for healing work. And as you see, I'm pulsing a light. I'm pulsing a light at the 0 point area. This is one of the arts of programming water. And Another thing that I go into afterwards, I have several tuning forks when I go into the water portal after I do the sound, or after I do the light, excuse me. I work with a variety of tuning forks. I then go into and I get my crystal bowls out. I have some alchemy bowls, because when we're doing this with water, when we're creating this centripetal interwinding vortex, we're helping to drop the load that the water was carrying. We're helping to erase that vibrational information that we want to get out of the water.
That it's absorbed.
That it's absorbed. And in this day and age, we have literally, we will clean it up and we will turn it around, but my guidance is pretty much every bit of our hydrological cycle water has some contaminants in it. Every drop of rain that's coming down has contaminants in it. And some of those contaminants are things like graphene oxide, aluminum, barium. I won't go on, but we've been doing some really, really dumb things as humans for many, many years, actually. And we've all been a part of it. There's no need to put blame on anybody. But because of this, we want to distill all the water we're going to drink right now. Unless you have a source of primary water coming into your sink or into your backyard, we want to distill all of our water. And some levels, we want to even go other steps, won't go into that. We want to then revitalize our water through the centripetal interwinding vortex, or even to another level, we go into the torus. And I'm going to pause on the torus for a minute. So this is my greenhouse. This is experimental hydroponic operation. And what I've come to learn is that I actually built this apparatus right here 20 years ago. And when you inject gases like Brown's gas, dissolved carbon, Brown's gas is basically oxygen and hydrogen. Okay. When we started pulling these gases into the water, it's an amazing thing what it will do for our bodies and what it will do actually for all of life that depends on this water to really thrive. So we start imprinting the gases, we start imprinting the frequencies of light, and to say when it's growing, if we need more nitrogen, the certain color of light pulsed at a certain rate into the vortex, you now put hydrogen into the water. Beautiful. And the plants will respond as though you fertilize them with hydrogen. In some case, or excuse me, nitrogen. Hydrogen is great for all plants, all of life, but to say the plants need phosphorus or magnesium or nitrogen, we find that they will respond as though they received it. This is where I believe Magenta Pixie is being guided, and they're talking about bringing the energy of the ocean into the lands, into our growing lands. Well, part of what I believe, my thesis is that we are going to learn how to bring these informational fields, these frequencies of the ocean and what the ocean frequency and energy does, and its ability to give and nurture. We're going to bring these informational fields via radionics, via scalar waves, onto our lands. We won't be literally bringing the oceans onto our lands.
Doing it energetically.
That may somewhat happen, right? But we have to remember, water in nature is constantly doing the dance of life. It is constantly doing the dance of life. This is the kind of water we were meant to drink, right? It needs to keep spiraling, spinning, falling. This is when it's happy. This is when it's full of these gases that we way overlook the importance of these gases in water. It is critical for our health. It's critical to drink this kind of a full or similar full spectrum water to activate that dormant DNA. In my opinion, that's what my guidance is. It's one of the reasons I've been able to somewhat tap into these things that I've been guided to do, because I've been drinking this water for 25 years. and what Dr. Mushik John discovered is most water looks similar to this. The hydrogen and the oxygen are randomly clumped, like a random clump of grapes. What Mushik John discovered is that when we just vortex water, and in this case, he was using something called a Vitalizer Plus. It had a little magnet on the stir motor, and it would put the water into a toroidal field, and it's in a plastic blender. And just by doing this, you would change that clumped into this hexagonal shaped molecules.
Mm.
My belief is that when we are able to really go to the next level, when we start realizing Victor Schauberger and Victor Schauberger's work, who was way ahead of his time.
Yes.
And what his main things he said, 3 key ingredients when working with water: shape, motion, temperature, and material. Okay. That's why those ampules that I showed earlier, they are based on a mathematical sacred geometric formula. They're based on the 88 keys of a piano. It becomes the wave guide, which then creates a specific wave form that it emits out. So this is where I started realizing what has come through me years ago. When we drink just a little amount of full spectrum water, this is somebody before they drank full spectrum water, and that's their biophoton energy field. And this is just 15 minutes after they drank 4 ounces of water from Gaia's fountain. I didn't know the person. I did many more tests to make sure it just wasn't a fluke thing. And sure enough, they all came out the same. And another thing that it showed, when we're I'm basically giving a lot of love and respect and honor to nature, or to water, by copying nature's way. That's what I'm doing. It's really a no-brainer. But when we start doing this, it's the phenomenal what it can do for us. So now we're going to move into this here. This is a digital photograph that my friend actually will help me with it, Bill. I couldn't get the AI to do exactly what we wanted, but it gives you a little bit of the picture of what the vision that I see. I don't see everybody needing to buy a Gaia's fountain, and everybody to need to buy all this water filtration devices to clean all these contaminants out, to get the life force back, so we can drink full spectrum water, so we can purify the toxins out of our body, so we can help wake up and remember who we are and what our purpose is. What I see is that these are going to be provided everywhere. Every airport, every bus stop, every school, every government building. We're going to be able to go around, and we're going to be able to drink this full spectrum water wherever we go. And our tax dollars will pay for it, or it'll be a nonprofit entity, a nonprofit organization. And it doesn't matter if it's under my nonprofit or somebody else's. It will eventually happen. One of the only things here is that the pointed end of the egg should be facing down. The masculine should be facing towards the feminine. And okay, we will be able to go up and fill our water bottles up. In our communities, we'll be able to go up and fill up our 5-gallon jugs, like at the water stores we see where you go fill your 5-gallon jugs. But instead of just distilled water or reverse osmosis water, we're going to be able to have full spectrum alive water. So we now get into basically the fact that I feel the underlying pattern that permeates our universe is the vortex or the spiral or the torus. It goes from the micro to the macro, from our DNA to electrons. We see this in nature. We see it all throughout nature. We threw it in seashells. You'll see it in horns. Our even ET brothers and sisters are leaving crop circles trying to give us a message about this. And again, it's everywhere. The weather patterns, the cosmos, the underlying pattern that permeates everything, our universe, is the vortex or the spiral. Einstein predicted the space-time fabric around our planet is a vortex. And this was proven just about 6 years ago. It is a vortex. It is actually a torus, in my opinion. And that's when we get into the next layer. The water that I drink every day, I put in a toroidal field. I combine all the gases, I combine the light spectrums, and with a few other things, and I incorporate the work of Catherine Parker and the resonance alchemy, which I feel is very powerful, very powerful. So this is a cosmic egg. It's also known as a hyperbolic egg. It again is a mathematical formula. It's quite simple. But when we start getting into understanding this is what we are. Again, as I said earlier, this is what we are. Our hearts are a torus. We are a toroidal field. We create a toroidal field. The torus of our heart is what connects to the cosmos. This is how the information comes down through us. But because our DNA has been tweaked thousands of years ago, in my opinion, we have the shashum, it's called the mouth of God. It's behind our neck here. And it's a chakra that's been talked about and discovered more. But I believe that the fact of that the energy that's spiraling through us has been blocked because of certain things that were tweaked in our DNA. Okay. And the more that we can open that Sushumna, that whole energy flow, and I believe water supports this, but I also believe I was supported by getting into this plasma portal and spending a lot of time. This is when I started downloading massive ideas started coming through me just a year or so back about how we can clean up the global waterways, how it actually doesn't have to be that hard of a thing to do. It's really a quite simple thing to do. And for a moment, I would like us, just for a moment, go into our toroidal field. The Earth Mother asked me this morning if I would share this, and I said I'll do my best. So I'd like it just for a moment to close our eyes, to see this energy line that goes up to the Godhead, up to the galactic core, streaming down to the top of our head in a spiral into our hearts. And see the heart activating our toroidal field. Now see this energy line going down to the core of the Earth Mother, to the heart of the Earth Mother. And I would like us momentarily to breathe in and out deeply through our nose and see our torus field continuing to build and expand outward. Expand outward as far as you want to see it go out. I see it going out at least many, many miles out around me. And then we're going to shoot this energy. When you hear something come from me, we're going to shoot this energy around the Earth Mother. It's going to shoot out of our heart, and it's going to shoot out around the whole mother like a well spraying out of the top of its head, or like a fireworks show. And we're going to see it literally in a few breaths go all the way down around the planet, and then back up through the planet and back up into our hearts. And we're going to do this 3 times. So build up our Merkaba, build up our Toth. Back up through the planet. One more time. Thank you. Your mother, thank you. We're just sending our love and our light. Not about fixing anything. It's about just shining our light, our love to the Earth Mother and to all of life that depends on water to thrive.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Beautiful, Randy.
So, there's something that I've come to realize, and I've talked about it a little bit before, but we haven't fully understood nature. And Victor Schauberger, he understood nature. That was his teacher. Nature was his teacher. And he didn't go to one day of school. Nature was his school. Water was his teacher. Nature was his teacher. And what I've come to realize is that God is not some guy up there in the sky with a big beard. And this is why I know this to be true. God is an androgynous being. God is everywhere and everything. And the reason I say this is because when we look at everything that's going on in the world and how nature works, as Victor Schauberger said, it's basically a 65% feminine, roughly 35% masculine. And the feminine part of nature is the levitational purification, growth, the growth of a tree, what draws the water up the tree. This is the levitational energy. This is the feminine levitational energy. And that's the centripetal and the centrifugal energy in nature is part of nature that's towards death, decay, erosion. It creates heat. It's about expansion, explosion energy. And that's what we've been using mainly. This is why we've been a bit out of balance in the situation. We've been mainly all focusing on this masculine energy of explosion, expansion, heat and erosion, and death and decay. That's why we have so many problems going on the planet, within ourselves and outside of ourselves. And Victor showed us this. Victor learned how to tap into this feminine levitational energy. And he created these devices that did fly, and they actually cleaned the air as they flew. I know this to be true beyond a doubt. This technology is in us, and it will eventually come out. But the more that we learn to really embrace that goddess feminine side of ourselves, not that the masculine is bad, I'm not saying that. Masculine is not bad, but it needs to be in balance. It needs to be in homeostasis.
Yes.
And when I'm guided about this technology that it's working through many different dimensions, it starts at the fifth, but I'm guided, it works in between the fifth and ninth dimension. Well, one of the things I want to point out about this and why this is, vortexing energy, it doesn't matter if it's a tornado that comes through or it doesn't matter if it's air or water. We find these unique phenomena that happen, things that can't be explained. How these things are going into buildings, these poles, how things like this happen. And many of some of the other ones that I came across, there was no pictures, there's just people talking about, like these aren't the real deal, but an entire rubber tire that's around the trunk of a tree, and the tree has branches that go out 20 feet, 30 feet. How did that happen? Literally finding cows that are halfway in the barn, halfway out of the barn after a tornado comes through. Water mains twisted and broken 10 feet under the ground after a tornado has passed over it. Okay? Because we're working in a whole nother dimension. A whole nother energy is happening. And tornadoes actually, this is the piece of straw that went right into a tree. There is grains of wheat grains of wheat literally embedded into glass, and the glass is not broken because we are tapping into this other dimension, this higher frequency. The vortex has this ability. I know 3 scientists that worked on a project in the ocean. They created a big vortex in the ocean, some type of a thing. I don't know how they exactly did it, but they ran the tests they ran, things they would shoot down in this vortex would just disappear. They were gone. And after they started talking about some of the first couple tests they did, next thing you know, 2 of the people just died of freak accidents in cars. The 3rd guy went underground because we're tapping into a really powerful energy field when we really, really understand it. It's not really that complicated. It's not that complicated. Some of the biggest, most amazing things that can turn this planet around are right under our noses. They literally have been right under our noses. We humans have thought, oh, it's got to be really sophisticated and advanced and yada, yada, yada for it to be effective. Well, the truth of it is, in my opinion, no, it's not true. Some of the most powerful things are right under our nose. Just go out like Schauberger did. Schauberger invented so many things. And he was the true water wizard. And he did that from observing nature and looking how nature worked. So this is one last thing that I would like to, at this point of the sharing on the pictures, if I can go off here. This is called a water wheel. And I built this water wheel years ago because when I came home from being away for a while, I felt this really deep sadness that was not normal at all. And I knew it wasn't me. I knew it wasn't the universe. It was more than that. Something was going on. Well, I realized through a friend who showed up, the sadness was in the aquifer under me. And we come to realize it was because of Los Alamos doing some secret experiments under Earth, letting off bombs or whatever frequency stuff. And it was really affecting the whole aquifer through this whole area. So by spirit guidance, they guided me. We needed to build this water wheel. And a water wheel is basically just like a Native American medicine wheel, but it's specifically designed to support and honor water, supporting the aquifer underneath of this, supporting the waterways around this. These are really simple, powerful things we can do to honor our waterways. So, as soon as I built the water wheel, guided by spirit, called many friends up to get involved into it, the energy shifted. It shifted right away. Mm-hmm. So don't underestimate some of the things the Native Americans have been teaching us for years, trying to teach us, trying us to wake up to, because they have been teaching us some really and trying to show us some really important things. And this is the human version of Arima. But she is not in a human body, but this is the closest human version. And I can't share her full version at this time. It'll happen when it's supposed to. So I'm going to stop screen sharing here.
Oh, Randy, this is so profound. And again, part of what I so respect in you is you're tapping into that ancient wisdom and bringing it through to help us remember, to remember what we once knew, and that it is all around us. And that we can, so much of the deep meaning of the age of Aquarius is about coming back into right relationship, coming back into harmony with all that is, and reintegrating the sacred masculine and sacred feminine. And you're showing us how we can do that. And it is through honoring the wisdom that's all around us and the wisdom that is within us.
Yeah.
But that medicine wheel and the pyramid are so powerful in creating that healing template that can help the waters come back into balance, help us come back into balance.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's all about the homeostasis in my world. It's not, it's all about homeostasis. Um, and we have the potential. We have the potential. We are the ones we've been waiting for to remember who we really are. We have just forgotten. We've just forgotten who we really are. And the more of us that remember who we are by going inward, it's in my opinion, it's an inside job. Not that we can't listen to others to support us remembering what we know, just like water does. You know, I can make a small amount of water and put a lot of love into it, and then add that water to a whole lot of water, and it helps the other water remember what it knows and to remember its true essence. Okay? And that's what we do for one another. And the more we literally step into our higher life purpose by activating that DNA within us, which is basically a wormhole also, in my opinion, it's a wormhole also. And the more we learn to activate that fully and embody and embrace that, each and every one of us have a unique gift that nobody else has on this planet. Nobody. And when you activate that within you, the universe will show you the road that you're meant to be on. So you can be, I can speak for myself, so you can be of greatest service to the well-being of the whole, to the well-being of all. And remember to have fun as we're doing it too. Remember to enjoy the ride and have fun. All right. That's, to me, is the key. The last 3 weeks have been really overwhelming, so I haven't got to do a lot of my self-love work, but I've been serving in another way too, and it's all beautiful, it's all perfect. And I just say I want to really thank everyone for really doing your divine work. Thank you for really doing your best to remember who you are and letting go of who you're not. And following your heart. You know, my teacher told me this years ago. She said, son, we're going to reach a day where the frequency of the planet is going to rise. And as she rises, her frequency rises, those of us who cannot get out of the head and move down into the heart, they will go crazy. Because you'll be so out of vibrational sync with the Earth Mother. And if you know anything about the Schumann resonance, Otto Schumann, who discovered the Schumann resonance of 7.8 hertz back in the days. And then another guy discovered our brain functions, resonates at that same 7.8 hertz. So I understand why this is happening and why it's imperative that we get out of our heads, get into our hearts, let the heart be the guiding light, and let the path be the path of love. Of least resistance.
And then our hearts are attuning to the heartbeat of Mother Earth, the heart of the cosmos, and then we're in that harmonic with all that is, instead of being discordant. And as these energies are coming in from the cosmos, and as we are in this incredible transformational process, it's so wise what you're saying, Randy. We need to come from the heart so that we're able to be singing that song of the cosmos, coming back into balance, coming back into harmony, being in that healing process with the earth.
Yeah.
Randy, there's so much more we could talk about, and I hope we can do this again, but I am so deeply grateful for the wisdom that's coming through you and the way in which you're embodying this love and energy that you're describing. And as we each do that, and I love that way in which you're describing how we can come back into that 0 point source energy within us. And then we emanate that out to everyone around us and emanate that into the consciousness of the collective.
Yes. Thank you, Heather. Thank you for inviting me onto your platform. And thank you, Spirit. Thank you, angels. for all your divine guidance, for all your love and support.
Mm. Thank you. And I also express my gratitude to this community that is working to hold that higher vibration and that energy of love. So blessings to all of you.